Building deep connection in worship. You see, worship, first of all, you have to bear in mind that worship is not like every other song you are trying to minister on the stage. We have different types of songs in the church, like hymns. We have the choir ministration, which is the one that the choir will come out and then they will deliver after practicing with a wonderful backup, from the choir and all that. And then we also have the praise section. So there are so many music sections in the church, in every church. But worship is different. And it's always important to set aside worship when you are trying to talk about church music, because worship actually talks directly to God. Because at that moment you are worshiping, and God actually called us to worship. The Bible says that a time will come when those that worship God will worship Him in truth and in spirit. So there's a particular expectation when it comes to leading worship or even singing worship. That is why worship creates an atmosphere. It's not just what you sing, and most churches don't understand this thing. They just lead worship as though it is just one of those music ceremonies or music thing. I mean, you have to have a good voice, you have to have a wonderful voice to sing. That's what they say. But the truth is, it's not only about the voice. Worship is about connections, and today I want to talk about the connections in worship. You see, if you are a worship leader, and I think you are for being on this video, you have to understand that there is a particular place that worship occupies in the Bible. Check out the history of the Israelites, how God led them out of Egypt, and when they got to the wilderness, what did God ask them to do? God asked them to build a tabernacle. And if you are a Bible scholar, you will have understood the importance of that tabernacle to God, and how God, described how the tabernacle should be built and how it should be segmented, where people should go into, what should happen in the tabernacle, and where the Holy of Holies should be and who should be there. So you can realize the way God paid attention to worship, and then also how God talked about the instrumentals, who are going to play music in the tabernacle, and those are going to be the priests, the Levites, in choosing the people that will worship or that will lead worship in the temple. We're supposed to be Levite, those who are set aside for that purpose only. So it tells you the attention that God puts on worship. Worship is really, really important to God. And as you are a worship leader, you must understand this. First of all, you understand why you must build connections during worship. So now, how do you build connections in worship? First of all, understand that you are standing like a bridge between two sets of personalities, the human and the God personality. Now, as a bridge, people are passing through you. At the same time, God is passing through you. Now, this is deep for those who lead worship, because it's not everybody that can understand what I'm trying to say. God is passing through you to reach to those who are listening, and then people that are listening are passing through you to connect with God. So you are the medium. You are like the voice, that people get to hear to now trigger them to worship. And then you are also the voice that God gets to hear to manifest through your worship. So as a worship leader, you are not just a person who just stands on the altar and sings with a beautiful voice. You are a person that creates a connection between the audience and God. And once you understand this, your worship will change. Why? You understand that you're not just doing a ceremony, you're not just doing a regular thing that everybody does when they come on stage, like, oh man, I want to sing today, I got a wonderful voice, I want to thrill them with my high pitch, I want to do some vocal stunts, I want to do some ad-libs and some riff and runs. You will know that is not the point. That is why those who lead worship, or the mature worship leaders, they don't even do styling when they sing. I mean, take your time and study those who lead worship. You realize that they don't have the time for vocal expression, even though, yes, they add it a couple of times, but they don't depend on it. They don't do vocal stunt. Why? They focus more on the ministration aspect, where people get to hear what you are saying and where God to feel what you are saying. Now we are singing a song like as the deer panted for the water, so my soul longeth after thee. You alone at my heart desire, and I long to worship you. You alone at my strength and shield. Now you are describing God to God. You know what that means? God knows himself. He is I am that I am. But you are describing God to God and telling him how you feel in that song. And as you are singing that song, it is not the melody that God is listening to. It is a commitment of words that God is listening to. Now, it is also those commitments of words that people that are in the audience are picking and they are also making the same commitment along with you. Yes, people are picking the same words, those words you are singing out. The people in the audience are picking it. So those who don't have relationship with God, when they hear that song, it triggers a desire for God, a hunger for God. Why? Because of what you are saying in that song. You alone are my strength and shield. So it reminds them of how God has been there for them at the time of need. And then when they hear these things, it triggers, oh God, I yearn for you. I seek to know you more. I want to be close to you. Now, these are the things that come out of people when they hear those words in that your worship song. That is why it is important for you to always pick songs that build, intimacy. It's not like when you are talking to your wife or your spouse and you are saying things that will trigger them romantically to love you more or to desire you more. It's the same thing with worship. You are talking to God in a way that God now desires to fellowship with you because you want to fellowship with him. And in this case, as a worship leader, you are not only doing it just you and God, you are also bringing people in that level to connect with God at a deeper level. So connection is very, very important when it comes to leading worship. If you are leading worship and you are not mindful of this important factor, you only lead worship every time you go on stage as a carnal person. Now, you should expect that there is a connection. That's another thing again that many people don't know. You just lead worship without expectation. So when you go on stage, what do you expect to happen? What do you expect will happen when you go on stage to lead worship? Have you ever thought that thing like, okay, I'm going to lead worship today, so what should happen when I lead worship? Because it is important for you to always think about what will happen. What is going to be the expectation? How will people respond to this worship section? What should happen in people's lives in this worship section? So these are the things you must think about. You must always get these things right. Why? Because it is important that people's life do not go to waste after you lead worship. Why? Because you have created a connection between God and these people, and then people are those who are looking for one thing or the other from God are receiving it. Those who are looking for a deeper connection with God are getting it. Those who are looking to an open heaven so that heaven can pour upon them are receiving it, because what? You are standing in the gap and creating that atmosphere for them to experience that connection. So always look out for the connection. When you're leading worship and there is no connection, look for what could be the problem. Pray in your heart and say, Lord, I want a connection. I want to build a connection between the people and you. I want to create that medium where they can be able to communicate with you without any inhibition. Always pray that prayer and pray in your heart. Even when you're already ministering and you notice that the people that you are leading in worship, they are not connected, they are not even feeling anything, it should bother you. You should feel concerned, like, come, what's happening? Why do I lead worship and people? I've seen people lead worship and come down on the stage, and what they will tell you is, I sang very, very well today. I know my voice was beautiful. No, that shouldn't be what you should be saying. As a worship leader, you should come down and cry and say, oh God, I led worship today and nothing happened. Why did nothing happen? Why didn't anybody feel blessed? Why didn't people feel moved? Why? Because out there you see people that lead worship and a lot of things happen. So why can't it be you? So it is important for you to build that momentum spiritually in your own private time. Pray, ask for divine connection, ask for divine experiences, ask for divine explorations. But let God give you divine exposure into spiritual things. Read the scriptures, find out what it means to lead worship in the Old Testament and what it means to lead worship in the New Testament, because all these things will give you a better idea of how God feels and how God values worship. My name is Sam David, your online choir master, here to teach you how to be the best you can be in leading worship, leading praise, and being a backup singer. Please give me a follow and share this video, and God bless you. See you on the next one.